All right, guys. So I'm about to take you back to about 1990, maybe 1991. I'm sitting in the back of my mother's station wagon, maybe 9, 10 years old, and I just think that I'm the coolest person ever because on the radio I hear bum, ba-dum, 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 bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, and I just break into rap. Don't call it a comeback. I've always been there. Do you know that song? That was LL Cool J. Mama said knock you out. And back then that was the jam. And so I was so excited in the back of my mom's station wagon singing that song. And so it's funny, as I reflect on this many, many years later, here I am in 2025, thinking back to the 1990s when I was a little girl. But I'm reflecting on that because it was perfect, like that opening line. It's like, don't call it a comeback. I've always been here. And so I say this because I am, in case you don't know me, Nikhail Coble. I am the founder and CEO of Mary's Helm. We are an education consultancy located in the state of Georgia, the United States, and we've been around since 2020. So it's been a while since I've posted anything here on this YouTube channel, but don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. So you might be wondering, what's the purpose of this post now? And I have one word for you. One word. And that word is inspiration. I was feeling inspired. And so you might be saying, what were you feeling inspired by? I was feeling inspired by an amazing group of educators located in the United Arab Emirates. They're located in Ras Al Khaimah, and that is the staff of Al Marid School. They were amazing, absolutely amazing. I had the opportunity to be able to serve as their acting principal from January 2025 until July 11th of 2025. So a few months I was able to be their acting principal, and I was just inspired by that group of individuals, and that's what brought about this video and this whole series, yeah, this whole series. And so shout out to my Al Marid stars. This is for you guys. So thank you for the inspiration. And so the inspiration actually came about. I stepped into that role during a season of transition within that school. It was a challenging time for me to step into that role. Number one, because I was just coming off of maternity leave. My baby was 4 months old, and so to be trying to transition back into the workforce, and then not only that, in a senior position of running that particular school, and also at a time where the school was transitioning too, because the project was ending later that year. And so there were just many factors that were going into there. And so going into the role, I was considering, how can I really lead the staff in such a way that we're still making an impact, we're still going to do something amazing with these students up until the very last day of the project, but at the same time, I know that there were many, I guess you would say, like social emotional and, just feelings and challenges around there that needed to be addressed as well. So how do I inspire them while at the same time challenging them? And what I decided to come up with was, every day I was going to do 5 minutes of focus. So I opened the school day every day. Staff had to be there by 6:45. And so at 6:46, every day we would start with our 5 minutes of focus. And so it would just be like an inspirational message from me on a daily basis, right? And so in doing that, not only was I inspired by them, because I would open the message and afterwards I would have other staff members, right? They would be opening the message as well, giving a word for that day, but then other people would share about things that they were seeing within the building that encouraged them, or practices, best practices, and, just behaviors and things like that. So it was just a time of inspiration where people were encouraging one another. And so I wanted to keep that going. And so that's what I'm bringing here through the Mary's Helm channel, right? But one of the things that I really thought about in stepping into that, and also again, just thinking about, don't call it a comeback, I've always been here, right? So sometimes in life, even when you are going through dark seasons, right? There, you might feel like, oh, nothing's happening. Like, what is the point of us doing these, 5 minutes every morning? Or what is the point of me doing this video right now? Or whatever the case may be, right? So sometimes you feel like things aren't happening. But let me paint an analogy for you, because I love painting analogies. Yeah. So I want you to consider something like bamboo, right? When you plant bamboo, it can take up to 5 years, you guys. 5 years. Can you imagine? 5 years for the plant to break the soil. That's a really, really long time for you to feel like I've seeded something and then nothing's even growing, right? But once it finally starts to sprout up, then it's just like really, really big. It can be roughly like 6 weeks. It can grow as much as like 90 feet in 6 weeks once it finally starts sprouting, right? And so I thought about that, even with what I did with the Almarid stars out there. So it started kind of slow, and I'm sure people were kind of wondering, like, why is she gathering us every day and trying to speak this inspiration to us? Like, this is a really, really hard time right now. But it picked up, like it really, really picked up by the end of the year. And I could feel like a difference within the building, with the staff, with the students, with everything. And so it just felt really, really different. And so the lesson that I really learned from that is that sometimes just because you don't see something happening, that doesn't mean that there's nothing happening and there's nothing going on. And one of the things, well, not one of the things, I'll actually give you 3 things that really helped me during that season. And hopefully it helps you if you're going through a transition season too, where you see that things are kind of dark and you're hoping that something is going to happen, right? Don't call it a comeback. I've always been here. I planted something and I just don't see anything yet, right? And so those 3 tips that I would give to you right now is, number 1 is, I would say, inventory your strengths. And so for me, again, walking into that particular role as the acting principal, I had to think about what are the different things that I'm good at. And I know that I love public speaking. I love doing like motivational talks. I love doing like trainings and coaching and, just supporting and helping people in that way. So number 1, I had to think about what are my strengths and how can I incorporate that into what I'm doing. Number 2, I had to think about my wins. So what are areas that I've already been successful in? And so I thought about what are things that I've already been successful with Mary's Helm. All right, I know that I'm really good with creativity. What are some things that I've already been successful with in other jobs that I've had before? Okay, I know that I'm really good at like doing professional development workshops. What are some other things that I'm good at, right? I know from my work in ministry, I know that I'm like really good at like coaching people and helping people like solve problems and things like that. So I would say track your wins during those dark seasons as well, because that helps you remember, all right, these are things that I'm good at. I've won in this before. I can win in that again, right? And then last but not least, what I would say is that if you are going through a transitional season where the season's dark, you don't see anything happening yet, even though, right, you've been doing something for a while, is I would say seek feedback. And so for me, I would get feedback. I would ask different staff members. I would even go home and like talk to my husband, like I did this. I would talk to my mentors and be like, hey, this and this, how did this go? I talked to other principals. I talked to things like this, right? Like different people that I needed feedback on and things. And so getting feedback helps you know how to make adjustments. And it keeps you humble. It keeps you humble during that season as well. And you get encouraged, right? Because if you talk to other people who've been through similar things or they're doing similar things, like if you're growing bamboo, they might be like, oh, that's normal. You haven't seen anything in 5 years. Oh, it's normal. It's fine. Keep going. Right. And so those would be my tips for you if you are going through a season of transition. All right, you guys. So I hope that was helpful for you. And I will be here every day, 5 days a week, giving you your morning motivation. So I hope that helps you out. And again, shout out to my Alma Reed stars, because you guys were the inspiration for this. Okay, you guys, so if this was helpful for you, please make sure that you like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear about how can you get through a transition season, right? Don't call it a comeback. You've always been here. Like maybe nothing's happening yet, but stick with it. Leave a comment if there's anything that you want to share. Also, make sure that you check the description down there. I give you guys a few more things that you can study out, things that can help you as well. And then last but not least, subscribe so that way you don't miss any of these. All right, you guys, keep shining, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.